All right, good morning, guys. Welcome to your first online learning class. I'm very excited to do this with you guys. I think it's a great way for us to keep our minds engaged, keep our mind going, because we don't want to just sit at home and do nothing. Okay. So today is our first lesson. We're gonna jump right back into where we left off before we went on spring break. I hope you guys had a wonderful spring break. So starting off, good job on joining the classroom. If you guys see if any of your friends are missing, reach out to them, give them the classroom code. Let's get them all in. Let's keep the learning going. Okay, so we're going to talk about first how I would like you guys to submit your work. So in our classroom, we're always going to start with a Google Doc, okay, because you're going to use that as your answer sheet. So in your classroom, you would go to the top right corner here. You would see these dots that say Google Apps. You're going to click that, scroll down, and you're going to click Docs, and it'll open your tab for you, and then you're going to click Blank Document. Okay, so you're going to use this to submit and do all your work. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about rational equations. And please remember to always put your name on your paper, just in case, I know it's online, but just in case anything happens. Okay? So we're going to do some example problems just like we would do in class. We'll do some practice problems together, and I want you guys to try them on your own as we prepare to do some Excel assignments or quizzes or anything like that. Okay, so same thing, we'll do something together. You guys will practice some sets, and then we'll go from there. All right, so let's do number one together. All right, so let's bring up our notes and our whiteboard here. All right, so you can see today that we're talking about rational equations. So rational equations is just a fancy word of saying decimals or fractions. Okay. So before we went on break, we talked about one-step and two-step equations. You guys are doing great with that, so I just want to keep the ball moving and talk about if we had the same operations but doing it for decimals. Okay. So if we look at number one here, let's go to our whiteboard. We have a minus 17.9 equals 32.4. Okay. Now let's review the steps to solving these type of equations. So the first step is always to locate your variable. Okay, so remember variable is some sort of letter representing a number. So in this case, our variable is a. Okay, because we're trying to figure out what a is to make this equation true. Okay, and then it says determine the operation tied to the variable. Okay, so remember it's the operation that's coming after or before the variable. So in this case, we have a subtraction. So we're going to highlight our subtraction. So we have a minus 17.9. And we're going to use inverse operations to cancel out whatever is attached to our variables. Remember, inverse is just a fancy word of saying opposite. So the opposite of subtraction is addition. So we're going to draw our balance. I'm doing it blue so we can remember our opposites. Right? So we know that the opposite of subtraction is we're going to add 17.9. We're going to add 17.9. Now the reason we're adding 7.9 is because we want to get a by itself. Because if we know that negative or positive, this is going to equal 0. So we're just going to be left with a. We bring down our equal sign. And now this is where the review of decimals come in. So I will be attaching some Khan Academy videos for you guys to review on decimal operations. So please don't freak out. We're going to take our time with it. We'll review some decimal operations, what you're supposed to do in certain situations. But for adding and subtracting, just remember you line up your decimals. So in this case, we line up our tenths place, our ones, and our tens place, and we just perform the operation. So in this case, we would add everything up, and we would get 50 and 3 tenths. Okay. So it is okay for you guys to use calculators with this, but try practicing it on your own. If we were in the classroom and you had to take a quiz or anything, you wouldn't be able to use that calculator. So yes, it's okay to use a calculator to check your work, but don't rely on it. Okay, so practice the problem without the calculator first, then go back and check it. Okay, so we have our a by itself, and we have a equals 50.3. So we're done. So we know number one. So we go back to our answer sheet. Number one, a equals 50.3. And this is what I'll be looking for you guys to turn in as well. Okay, so number two, we're actually going to skip number two and you guys are going to do that on your own. And we're going to go to number three. So let's bring our whiteboard back up. Go ahead and erase everything here. Okay, so number 3 says negative 4.5. Oh, that's a crazy looking 5. Negative 4.5p equals negative 60.3. Okay, so we would go through the same steps. We're first going to locate our variable. Okay, so we see the p here. And now we have to figure out what operation is tied to this p. Okay, so we talked about this in class. There's no plus sign or minus sign, and it's not a fraction, so it's not division. So we know this has to be multiplication. Okay, please do not forget there's no plus or minus there. They are joined together, so this is multiplication. So we know the opposite of multiplication is division. And we're going to have to divide by whatever attached to that p. So in this case, it's negative. Don't forget the negative. 4.5. And we're going to divide this side by negative 4.5 as well. Okay, so I'm not going to do it in this video, but like I said, I will attach a Khan Academy video for reviewing decimal division. Okay, so we divided 4.5 divided by 4.5. We know that's going to cancel out. Same if we had 5 divided by 5, it would just be 1. But we're not dividing p by p, so we're going to be left with, oh, let's go back to black. We're going to be left with the p on the left side. We bring down our equals. And now we have negative 60.3 divided by negative 4.5. Okay, so if you want to pause the video, go review the Khan Academy, try it on your own and see if you get the same thing. I commend you. Go for it. Okay? But we're going to keep on going. So the negative and negative we know cancels out. So we're going to left with a positive. And our final answer would be 13 and 4/10. Okay? So please review your Khan Academy videos. If we get enough questions, maybe we'll do another side lesson on reviewing decimal operations. But I think you guys will get it once you guys do that review on the video. Okay? So in this case, our p is by itself. So we have p equals 13.4. So we're done with number 3. All right, so I'm going to skip number 3 here. So you guys would have 1, 2, and so on. So we have 3 equals p equals 13.4. Okay. Alright, so I think we are going to skip number 4. I want to leave some practice problems for you guys, and we're going to go straight into number 5. Alright, so let me go ahead and erase everything here. Alright, so number 5, notice it's a little different now. Okay, so number 5 is 16 equals y divided by 0.3. Okay, so two things about this problem. It's written backwards. The variable's on the right side, and it looks like it's in a fraction form. So let's talk about what those two things mean. So it's written backwards. Let's not freak out. Okay, it's written backwards, but we're still doing the same thing. We're still going to locate the variable. So we switch to our red here. Okay, so we know our variable. Oops. Our variable is y. Okay. Now we have to determine the operation tied to the variable. So now our second difference, we know this is a fraction. Okay. Now fraction, we know is a fancy word of saying, or fraction is a fancy way of showing division. Okay. So whenever you see these fraction problems, think of division. Okay. So now we have y divided by 0.3. So what is the opposite of division? Multiplication. So we're going to always multiply what is ever in our denominator. So in this case, we're going to multiply by 0.3. So we're going to multiply by 0.3. Draw our balance. So wherever we do on one side, we have to do on our other. Okay, so reviewing our steps, we located our variable, our y. We determined the operation. We saw that a fraction is division, and the opposite of division is multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by its inverse. So we're multiplying 0.3 times 16. zero point 0.3 times zero point 0.3 will cancel out. And I can show why that happens over here. So we would have y times zero point 0.3. So that would be 0.3 y over 0.3. Now think of this as 5 divided by 5. We know that's going to cancel out, and we're just going to be left with y. Okay, so we bring that our equals, we bring that our y, okay, and then once again pause this video, jump over to Khan Academy, review decimal operations for multiplication, okay, and then come back, try it, okay, check your work. So 0.3 times 16 will give us a total answer of 4 and 8 tenths. Okay, 4 and 8 tenths. Okay, so if we go to number 5, we go to our answer sheet, and we said number 5 was y equals 4.8. All right, so very similar to what we were doing before spring break. Okay, now we're just adding decimals. Okay, so it's very important that you remember that you have your inverses. So addition, opposite subtraction, multiplication, opposite division, and vice versa, meaning division, opposites multiplication, subtraction, opposites addition. Okay? All right, so this will be your problem set. You have about, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 problems left to complete. Our total assignment will be due Friday. Okay, so I'm giving you this problems today, and we will go over this page tomorrow. Okay, but I just want to get you guys started on a couple problems, get you guys started. And please do not forget that after watching this video, you must comment one question you have. Okay, and then after you leave your question, you must comment on 2 of your other classmates' questions and answer one of their questions as well. Okay, so leave a question and answer 2 questions in order to receive full participation. Okay, so your day 1 activity is complete. So we're talking about rational equations for the next maybe 2 or 3 days, depending on how it goes. See how you guys are liking it. Okay, but if you want to move on and try the next set of problems, feel free to. You can check your work tomorrow when I post the video. Okay, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.